Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hibiscus Sports Complex for QBL 2019 Round 8. It is the Southwest Metro Pirates taking on the Gold Coast Rollers. My name is Regan Baker and I am joined by Jordan Mullan. Jordan, thanks for coming in, dropping by. What an exciting game we have here for us this afternoon.
Regan, firstly, thank you for having me on. Anytime I get a chance to speak to a microphone, people will know me by now, will tell you that I'm up for the opportunity. So thank you, and thank you to Southwest Metro Pirates. Yeah, very much a battle of two teams that are vying for spots in the 8 at the moment, and obviously, you know, pretty much complement each other. So it'll be interesting to see how these two teams go at each other tonight. They both go about 7 or 8 deep, and they've got some versatility to them, some vets. And when I say vets, there's some young vets. You know, we've got Bairstow, Ambrose, Willie, and a number of other girls that have played in this league since juniors, really. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what those vets get done tonight. It's a little bit cooler, but we've had a beautiful winter's 25-degree day today, so they've had no short of time to warm up. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, definitely so, and it should be a really good contest as well. Looking at the ladder just before we kicked off, the Gold Coast coming in at 7th position with a win-loss ratio of 4 wins, 3 losses. Southwest 1 position behind them with 4 and 4. So a really great matchup. I've obviously had the pleasure of covering every single Southwest game that we've had this season, and look, the team is really just starting to come together as a whole in terms of their group. And the commentary we had after their game last week is realistically, like on paper, they've got a really amazing team and they've got some really big studs, but their studs are acting as individuals at the moment because they haven't come together as a team. So the minute that this Southwest crew can actually come together and play a team sport for a full 4 quarters, they're really going to be a team that can take it to just about anyone in the league. Versus the likes of Gold Coast, who they've won 4 out of their last 5 games, and they're playing as a really tight-knit team unit. And as you said, they go 7 or 8 deep as well. So realistically, it could go either way out on the floor tonight, depending on, like you said, short warm-up, nice warm day as well. So it really is up to anyone to see who's going to win this one here this afternoon. Yeah, you've summed it up brilliantly, Regan. It very much is, and you know, it's funny. We've both got programs here that have been somewhat gluing together at the right time and starting to find the middle of the season, which is good and exciting. Cassie Dover's doing an excellent job, you know, taking on the reins this year and being rewarded for her loyalty to the program. She's brought in a couple of players. She's brought in some support staff as well, and they're going to match up really well tonight. So it's going to be interesting. I think the flavour of tonight, though, is going to be offense. I think these teams know how to score and know how to score in bulks. I think the deciding factor, though, is going to be who can defend the other and really take shots away from the star-studded roster that both teams really do have on the offensive end. It's going to be about the defense for me. Yeah, definitely so. Like you said, there are some really gun offensive players out on the floor. You look at the likes of Kayla Roberts and Mia Lloyd for Southwest coming in averaging over 18 points a game each. And then, of course, you got Jackie Luna Castro, who plays for the Mexican international team, doing an amazing job as well. She's averaging just over 17 and a half. So both teams have a couple of scorers who do a really amazing job out on the floor. And I think you're right, Jordan. It's going to come down to who can play defense, who can match up, and who can prevent those big names from getting into the keyway and getting the easy buckets underneath. Yeah, as we see the tip-off with Southwest going early with the looking to go inside of Bairstow. Yeah, and straight away getting off the bat, a steal nice and early for Walmsley for Gold Coast, taking it away, so they'll have the first opportunity. And this is something that has plagued quite a few of Southwest games as well, is that turnover count. They've had it, especially last week as well. We saw quite a high turnover count for them. So that's something that they need to watch, because the more you turn the ball over, obviously the less opportunities you have. And when you're coming up against a team like Gold Coast with such a deep squad and a really good squad at opening opportunities for themselves, you just can't make those easy mistakes. Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think that's the thing that we mentioned before. I think, you know, this roster for Gold Coast has got some experience. I mean, Susie Walmsley comes in as the captain, and I know her from juniors in Newcastle. And she, as a Nova Castro, she played in the WNBL with the Sydney Uni Flames and knows how to play, and she knows how to lead a team, but she also knows how to play defense and score. So she'll be harping onto her teammates, hey, listen, let's lock down the D, but in offense, let's get the ball moving and see what we can do off there at the turnovers of Southwest. Yeah, absolutely. And straight away there, we do have a foul off the board. That one's going to go against Sarah Ambrose, picking up a nice early one inside the first minute. So Southwest now, shot clock on 10 seconds. Maddie Willie for a 3-point drop and finds her form early. That'll be a big confidence booster for Willie. She hasn't had the greatest 3-point shot leading into tonight's game. She's taken quite a lot, and Southwest is probably the #1 3-point shooting team in the league. They don't have the percentage to back it up, but they take a lot of them.
So that'll definitely be a nice early boost there for Willie.
Yeah, she knows these rims quite well, and obviously if she gets hot, watch out. It's going to be a hot night for the rollers.
Yeah, we're just looking at Willie's 3-point percentage on the season. She's only sitting at 8% for the season so far, so a good start nice and early on. She's had a little bit of a difficult start to the season in that area, as we see a little bit of a tussle off the ball between the two players. Trying to think of who it is.
Woods.
Yeah, Sian Woods and Mia Lloyd just getting a little bit physical there inside, but good decisions by the referees, just playing it on, allowing a nice physical game of basketball, which is what we do like to see as well.
Yeah, that's something I think Vaughan Mabry and Scotty Butler before him are very much harping on this year with the referees. You know, we've got a really star-studded league now, WNBL and NBL talent littered across it. You know, and it's not just restricted to the North teams now. I mean, you've got to let these players play at the level they're playing at, and the referees are coming to the level, which is starting to happen, which is really good and very exciting to see, because as you get to the finals time, you're going to see some real talent come out the forefront, and you don't want soft fouls called.
Yeah, absolutely. And the season as a whole, like over the last 3 or 4 years, nice little turnaround jump shot there for Mia Lloyd to put another 2 on the board for Southwest. We have seen a big development in the QBL Women's League in particular over the course of the last 3 or 4 years, and obviously working with Nothing But Net Media, I've got to travel all over Queensland covering the semi-finals and quarter-final series with the QBL live stream program, and every single year the season just gets better and better in the Women's League. And the good thing is, like you said, Vaughan Mabry and Scott Butler and the entire referee development program has really seen the referees adapt to the fact that we are getting a better program here.
Absolutely. So we see the rollers trying to push the ball in transition. Maddie Willie will pick up the foul on Wormsley.
So Gold Coast with it inbounds now, leading Southwest 7-4. So Gold Coast just a couple points behind, needing to get some inside paint work. See Luna Castro's, the shot clock rolls down under 10 seconds, but a 3-point shot there is nothing but net. That one a great shot
by Woods.
So we're all tied now at 7 apiece between the two teams. Southwest with it now. Great defense from Ambrose there, just making it a little bit difficult for Kayla Roberts. As Lloyd goes inside, spins around a couple of times, flips one up. It is no good, but does draw the foul. That one going to go against Ariana Mora.
I think that's something about Lloyd that people underestimate about her. Her ability to post up smaller players, or even less strong players, weaker players. She has that ability with the ball in her hands to, without having to take a dribble, spin, pivot, use her footwork to her strength, and then make you pay. Which is really exciting to see, because you don't see it a lot in women's basketball, unfortunately. But it's starting to come to the forefront now with players like Lloyd in our league, which is exciting to see, and teaches the young kids basics and fundamentals still stand strong in the QBL.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's done a really good job all season as well. And, she's even taken away a QBL Player of the Week award already as well, just from her sheer dedication down both ends of the floor, offensively and defensively. She's one of the top scoring players for Southwest, but it's more so the defensive effort that she puts in as well, because she just never lets up. She's always on her man. She's always marking up, and just puts a lot of pressure on her, just has the energy to really disrupt teams. And, in the best way possible, I mean this, but just be a real pest defensively.
Yeah.
See Kayla Roberts now, turnaround jump shot. That one is good for Southwest, taking the lead back up to 3. Mora now for Gold Coast, just taking things nice and slow, which is good to see. Gold Coast offense nice and stationary. Maddie Willie with the big hand on the ball there, trying to get the block. It didn't work. Wormsley, the veteran captain, is going inside and putting it away.
Yeah, she knows how to score, that's for sure. She's been doing that since juniors.
Roberts now almost with the travel foot, nearly left the ground, kicks out to Willie for the 3. That's no good. And ball tapped out by Kayla Roberts. So Gold Coast going to bring it inbound.
Yeah, I think Gold Coast need to work out what they're going to do on those down screens. They've got to identify Maddie is going to get hot early, and she'll want that one back again, I'm sure. But those screening off the ball is going to be a thing for Gold Coast they're going to have to address.
Yeah, and any team is going to be in a little bit of trouble if Maddie Willie does find her stride from the 3-point line as well. She's 1 from 2 at the moment, so 50-50 shooting. If she gets the ball and finds a streak, Gold Coast could be in a bit of trouble. And, that unfortunately doesn't help there from Walmsley. Just trying to find her feet, just doing a little bit of a heat check. But hitting nothing but air on that one, unfortunately, for Walmsley.
Tyler King using the on-ball, looking inside again to White. Lloyd can't get it to go.
Yeah, that was great defense inside from Woods. It's always hard to try and do that reach in from behind when you're on post. You're playing D from behind to reach around and tap the ball away like Woods just did without picking up the foul. So, again, it just shows the veteran nature of Woods as a player as well. She's been in the QBL league for pretty much as long as I can remember, at least anyway, so she's been around for a few seasons.
Tyler King with a big 3 off the assist from Maddie Willie. Takes the lead out to 4.
Yeah, Southwest defense just lacking a little bit to get back. Not quite seeing the fast break opportunity there. Carly Patrick couldn't quite put it away though. A little bit off balance as she took that shot. But nice offensive work there from Gold Coast, recognizing the lack of defense and Southwest not dropping back. Lloyd with it again now. Shot clock under 10 seconds. She goes herself to the right, breaks past Carly Patrick. A nice step around there for the nice, easy inside two.
Yeah, good recognition. They overplayed the on-ball, wanted a hard show, and then just picked up the space and just punished them for it.
And coming down the other end now, nice inside-outside passage of play there as Woods finds a three-point form to drop that one.
That's a second 3. She's only 28% for the season so far, so I think it's probably a matter of, her not having as many shots as she'd like in this offense for the Gold Coast and not being a required three-point specialist, but she's been left open tonight.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be the battle of threes so far. There's been quite a few taken down both ends of the floor. Carly Patrick again on the fast break opportunity, this time picking up the foul. That one's going to go against Kayla Roberts for Southwest. And they're going to give it as baseline ball. Patrick just hadn't quite picked up the ball for a play to the basket. And that's the second time now that they've had that fast break opportunity. So Southwest needs to recognize after they make a play down their end of the floor, they need to get someone back. There's no help defense there to prevent Patrick from making that fast break opportunity. Like, she may be a tall player, but she's got really good foot speed as well to get back there.
That's just too easy. The Gold Coast defense deciding to play behind the post. Patrick's better than that, and she'll want that one again if the ball goes into the post. But that's just too easy out of the post. You can't play behind and then just expect an experienced player like that just turn around and lay the ball in. Big 2, long 2 on that one from referee Hole. That one takes it back to a 3-point ball game.
Yeah, both teams doing relatively well offensively, and as you said, it's going to come down to a game of defense, and we haven't really seen either team step up and play a solid game of defensive basketball yet. It's going through the motions. We go down one end, we get a relatively set shot under not a lot of pressure, and then come back down the other end. So, it's getting to the point now where either team needs to have a timeout or something to change up that defensive pressure to try and, stop some of the bleeding at the moment from the offensive side.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I'd like to see it from a coaching point of view that, and I think there's probably a little bit of nerves to it too. It's been typical Saturday night, a bit cooler than usual, and these girls are just running their legs out a little bit, getting motion of things. And I think what we'll see in this, as we get towards the end of the first quarter, there'll be some tactical changes from both coaches who know the game very well. So we'll see what happens. But next 2 minutes is going to be interesting to see if any team can take a bit of a lead.
Woods again doing a nice job inside, kicks it out for the outside play, and again it's almost a splitting image from what we saw just before from the Gold Coast. This time it's Mora getting the 3-point drop to close it down to a 1-point game. But Gold Coast doing a really great recognition with that inside-outside. That's the second time Sian Woods has been, more or less directly under the basket and kicked it out to that left-hand corner for the open 3-point shot, and it's worked 2 from 2 times so far.
Yeah, the baseline penetration's been allowed, which is fine, but if you're getting punished on it, you've got to make the adjustment.
Woods now 4 seconds on the shot clock. No good on the 3-point attempt. Maddie Willie down with the defensive rebound for Southwest. Lloyd kicks cross court. Maddie Willie now drives right. She kicks inside. Roberts underneath. and again goes over the top of Patrick to put away another nice, easy 2-point shot underneath. I think Patrick just needs to be a little bit stronger on that inside passage of play. I think that's 2 or 3 plays now where Roberts has got it underneath and just made it look a little bit easy underneath. She's kind of got it one step away and shot it up. I don't know whether it's on the catch that Patrick needs to be a little bit stronger or in just knocking Roberts away from the basket, a little bit more defensive intensity with her hands up.
I think they made the adjustment and put Luna Castro on her last defensive position. So recognising that Bairstow likes to pick and pop and won't bang bodies if there's a body down there, they've made the adjustment. So we'll see if they stay with that. You see Luna Castro with the jumper is short. Looks a little bit fatigued, and I'm sure Cassie Dover will make the sub at the quarter, but Coach Edwards looking to make a couple of quick subs to give his starters a little bit of breather going in the quarter time period.
Yeah, we've got Grace Champion and Sydney Wright looking to check in soon for Southwest as we come just under a minute to go in the fourth quarter. Tyler King couldn't quite make that 3-point shot fall. It's Luna Castro now. It's a 3-on-2 passage of play. She kicks to Patrick. Patrick stops and pops and is fouled by Willie underneath. He's getting a bit fiery at her team for not busting their butts on defense to get back down the floor. And, you know, and rightfully so. It was a 2-on-3 passage of play, and realistically there was no pressure or no intensity from the other players sitting back at halfway to make it down into defense.
Yeah, and I think Maddie's got a, you know, as a leader, she's become more and more vocal, which is exciting to see. And having had that stint in the WNBL as well, which was well earned with the fire. The hardest thing with that play though is it's a frustration foul, and now that puts her on 2, so she's going to have to play with 2 for the rest of the game or the next quarter and just play strategically and smart. But you know, she's an experienced player; she'll be able to do that. But you know, at the same time, frustration can't boil over, and you can't afford to give up, you know, 2 easy ones to Carly Patrick, who's money from the foul line. Yeah, definitely so. And those free throws from Patrick did close it down to a 4-point ball game. We're 40 seconds to go in the first quarter. Southwest now. Gold Coast defense definitely picking up a little bit of intensity here. Maddie Willie finding the break to the left and puts it away for 2. It was good help defense there from Mora. She just couldn't quite get there in time to get the stop. Luna Castro with a pump fake. One dribble jump shot. Punishing Bairstow for jumping, but I'm sure Steph's not going to give that up too often. She'll go in and guard her next time and make sure she stays on the floor. Yeah, that was just a very quick lapse of concentration there from Bairstow. I think just getting sucked into the fake. She won't be making that mistake again, though, I'm sure. As we close out the first quarter, it is 21-25. So a 4-point ball game. Your Southwest Metro Pirates are in the lead leading into quarter time. We'll have a bit of a quick break, and we're back with you with some live stats shortly in your QBL Game of the Week, presented by the Stream Team Australia. And welcome back to Hibiscus Sports Complex. It is QBL Round 8 action between the Southwest Metro Pirates and the Gold Coast Rollers. It's 25 plays 21. Southwest just managed to get themselves in the lead leading into the quarter-time break. Jordan, I saw you having a bit of a look at the stats leading into the break as well. So what are you noticing so far? I think probably the interesting thing for Southwest is probably they stuck with that 5 for me. That's probably the most interesting part. They stuck with that 5 pretty much until late, and they've made 3 changes now. So left Willie out on the floor with 2. Sarah Ambrose for the Rollers got hit with 2 early, so she came out early, and Cassie Doe went to a bench. But the thing is, as I said earlier in the pre-game, this is going to be a game that's going to go the distance, and I think for us this is a marathon, not a sprint, but they're going to play it like it's a sprint. So what they do early is going to affect what they have to do late. So just be conscious of Coach Edwards and how long he leaves Willie out there with either the 2 fouls or with the legs underneath her. She's a vet, she can play 40 minutes, but everyone knows you can't play 40 minutes 100%. So for me, it's been a punch-for-punch kind of situation first quarter.
Yeah, it's been, and as you sort of predicted as well, it was a very offense-heavy first quarter as well. Both teams, just like you said, feeling each other out, playing a bit of game of chess, and just going through the motions down both ends just to see where the other side was going to let up. And, realistically, it's now going to come down to the point where defense is going to become more and more important. And we saw Grace Champion pick up a nice early foul just before, just not quite moving the feet in front enough, as we see Maddie Willie just breaking around Luna Castro on that one to go for the right-hand hook shot. So, again, a little bit easy on the offensive end. So, teams still just feeling each other out coming into this second quarter.
Yeah, I think as we see the Rollers swing the ball and run both shooters off those screens and now look to post up, and as we see Walmsley bank a 3, she'll take it. She banks with a 24-hour bank. I think there's a sponsor down there in the Gold Coast looking for a bank, but yeah, she'll take it. But yeah, for us now, the defense has picked up and we're starting to see a little bit more ball pressure. Offensively, they've worked out what each team is doing. Now they're applying the pressure, so we'll see the second phase of each team's offense now. Yeah,
Gold Coast, really nice defensive pressure there as Mora gets the steal, but I think it was Luna Castro that did most of the hard work on that one on Willie. So we see Patrick again getting herself up the floor and inside for that 2-point drop on the underneath the bucket. So great offensive movement there from Gold Coast, and it came out of a great defensive play as well. They put the pressure on, they got the steal, but then it was about busting their butt to get down the offensive end, and look at the finish for them. They closed it down to a 1-point game.
Yeah, I think that's the thing too now. It's offensively, Southwest got stuck with the ball sticking. It goes to one side and it's wait for an on-ball to come early in the shot clock. At this level, you've got to be playing with the ball in motion. Players have got to be in motion. As we spoke about in the pre-game too, both teams match up pretty well in terms of athletic and experience. So for me now, it's about Coach Edwards going into this timeout, calling and recognising, hey, if we let the ball stick, we're going to get punished for it, and we are going to turn the ball over, as you mentioned early. The next evolution is now let's get the ball back in motion, let's get the ball through hands. We've got some fresh legs on the floor. Gold Coast Rollers haven't. Let's punish them for having some sore legs on there and see what happens, and we'll get layups. It's just a matter of moving the ball and allowing players to do their jobs. And I hope Coach Edwards and the team as well did go back and listen to our game tape after last week's game, which was covered by Nothing But Net Media and obviously the Stream Team Australia as well. We watched this game, and the big piece of feedback we had at the end of the girls' game was the Southwest girls, on average, they were making probably somewhere between 2 and 4 passes per offense before they would take a shot. Okay. Versus, I can't remember who they were playing now, unfortunately. My memory's not that great. But the opposition was passing 7, 8, 9 times every single offense, and that just broke the offense apart. And that's something that we haven't seen Southwest do a lot in the game here already today. There's 1 or 2 quick passes, and as we see right in front of us now, Grace Champion taking that 3-point shot off 2 passes on the offensive side. So they're making it easy for the Gold Coast defense, knowing that they're only going to pass it a handful of times. So if they just stick in their position, it's more than likely that one quick pass, they're going to take that wide open jump shot. Yeah, I think Rollers have come out of the timeout in that zone, and the skip pass was the look. I think there was a little bit of penetration opportunity there though against the zone, and new fresh legs want to see an open shot and they take it, sort of thing. So get the first one down and see what happens out of that. But we'll see what happens now as the Rollers extend a little bit and whether they stay in this zone, whether that causes any problems for Southwest. But at the moment they've gone back to the man by the looks of things, and we'll see what happens. Champion puts the ball on the deck, drives left, can't get that to roll, but I think they'll, no.
Yeah, Gold Coast kind of come down. They're going to say it got tapped off Southwest. But not a bad look from Champion on that occasion. She was probably a little bit outnumbered. There were 3 players on the inside that she tried to drive around. So again, and that's where Gold Coast has really utilised that inside-outside play. They've driven baseline with the ball and then kicked out to an open 3-point shooter. That wouldn't have been a bad idea there for Champion as well. Drive center through heavy traffic, And because there was heavy traffic, there's obviously someone open around the floor. So look for that pass to kick out to the open shot. Might have been a slightly better option. As we see Kayla Roberts trying to take a very, very deep two-point shot as well on that occasion. Also no good.
Yeah, I think Gold Coast are looking to slow Southwest down and right now push in transition as well off the miss, and isolate and identify some mismatches. But you know, that tempo control for the Rollers is going to be key, because it's going to lull Southwest defense, you know, into thinking that they're, you know, getting a break offensively, and they're not. They're actually being forced into a false sense of security, as we see a nice easy layup cutting through the keyway. And now for the first time the Rollers have the lead. So, you know, for us now it's a matter of Southwest executing, and let's see what they do out of this. But early in transition, Tyler King, you give her a little bit of space, and she knows how to shoot the ball. She certainly knows how to teach her brother how to shoot the ball. So before he goes off and explores the world, I'm sure Tyler will tell you she taught Mo everything he knows and some. So good three-pointer to wet the sail.
And it is back down to a 2-point gap now as well. So Southwest still just narrowly maintaining their lead. As they look to run a little bit of motion now, sort of kicking around a few more times as Steph Bairstow hands off to King into the corner for Wright. They've only got 5 seconds on the shot clock to make something happen. Wright's pass a little bit wayward, couldn't quite get into Roberts inside. And Gold Coast came down with it as Patrick now goes baseline. Luna Castro jump shot is good.
Yeah, that's just a lack of communication on D-Trans, and they're too good not to do that. That's just something that they'll probably look at in the timeout or at halftime and go, hey, listen, lapses on D-Trans are going to get us in trouble, especially off a missed basket. And
it's happened a couple of times now for Southwest as well, where that, you know, that transition from a turnover or a missed shot offensively, and they've just been a little bit slow to get back on defense. We saw it with Patrick's 2 fast break opportunities, and you know, we just saw it again there now. You know, they pushed the ball down the floor, made a couple of quick passes for Luna Castro's open jumper. So, you know, Southwest definitely need to go back and look at the way that they're moving in defense and getting back after not necessarily a mistake, but after a missed shot or whatever it may be.
Willie checks back in for the Pirates, and Tolly and Ambrose checks back in for the Rollers. So starting to see the bench of the Rollers coming in the game now, and we'll see what happens if continue the momentum of moving the ball and playing in transition as much as possible.
Great defense there underneath from Tyler King, I believe that was. Good no call from the referees, and that's the one thing I love to see as well in that no-charge semicircle. Just because there's a lot of contact doesn't mean you have to blow your whistle. King was there, she was set, contact was made, but a good no-call decision.
As we see the ball turned over by the Pirates and an entry pass in the post, so the Rollers holding the lead by 2. We'll see what happens here, but at the moment, I think they're playing well out of the on-ball, and I think leveraging the fact that they've got 2 shooters on the floor, 2 or 3 shooters actually on the floor now. They can space the floor well and see what happens and explore the paint touches out of that.
And Gold Coast now really starting to just intentionally try and make a little bit of contact as well, make Southwest work on defense. Good foul drawn there against Tyler King. He's a little bit frustrated by the decision, but you know, she was just a little bit slow getting off the feet, getting into her position in front and picking up the foul. Only her first so far though, so not too much of a concern.
Mia Lloyd in a off-time sweeps floors by the looks of things. The volunteer floor wipers have taken an early break at the moment. It gives the Pirates an opportunity to reconvene and just regroup at the moment and sort out their defensive lapses at the moment. They're causing to give up easy buckets to the Rollers, but Captain Willie will make sure that is sorted very quickly. Sato into the game for the Pirates.
And also checking back into the game for the Gold Coast Rollers as well. We do have Sarah Ambrose coming back in after picking up those 2 earlier fouls. So, you know, probably a good time for her to come back in. 4.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Not a bad time to be coming back in with 2 fouls. So she'll do well now as well. And you know, obviously just pick up her defensive intensity a little bit. Just make sure she's moving her feet, keeping in front, not picking up any silly ones. Some very risky pass inside there from King. It's picked up by Mora. She goes left, stops and pops, but a little bit too strong on that occasion. Mia Lloyd coming down with the rebound on that one.
Gold Coast will go into the zone now, the inbounds, which is a very common thing now in a baseline out of bounds to stop any scoring opportunities and force the other team to get the ball inbound and just have to play out of it. They'll stay in the zone. Lloyd with a 3.
And a great three-point shot it was there from Lloyd. Only a couple of quick passes from the inbound, but she found the form and hit the 3, so they take the lead by 1. It may not last for long. Mora with it now for Gold Coast, looking to go one-on-one. Kicks out to Castro. Castro's 3 is also wet.
Yeah, they've run that horn set a couple of times now, and it seemed to be effective. Mora seems to find a way to find the open person and makes good decisions out of the on-ball, which is an asset in itself. Hands foul will be on Tolly, so that'll be her first. And then heading to the line will be Lloyd for 2 cheap ones, hopefully.
Yeah, Lloyd quite typically a good free throw shooter for Southwest throughout the season so far, so should be a couple of good opportunity to make some easy points. When I say a good free throw shooter, I mean an amazing free throw shooter. She comes in tonight's game at 100%, and she continues that streak after making the first.
You don't become a pro without practicing your free throws, surely.
And she maintains the streak, going 2 from 2. Webb blocked at 37. As we see a timeout called on the floor, so we're going to take a quick break as well. But stick right with us, and we're back with more QBL action for you shortly, presented by the Stream Team Australia. And welcome back to Hibiscus Sports Complex. We're coming back with just over 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. Locked at 37 apiece, and Gold Coast with the first opportunity out of the break. Woods is going to take a 3 and nail it. And that is exactly what you would want to see as a coach coming straight out of the timeout on your offense.
No, Coach Edwards went to a 1-2-2 to try and slow them down and obviously slow down that offensive transition that they've been exposing for the offensive end and making the D-trans of the Pirates pay. As we see Maddie Willie get a steal in transition and try to find Lloyd.
And then another steal again. That'll be 2 in a row there for Tolly. The Southwest passing just starting to find a couple of little crinks there. That's Tolly now in the left-hand corner. She'll go for a deep shot of her own. That one bounces out, however. Tyler King coming down with the ball for Southwest. Three points down. Willie holds it down a little bit, but there's going to be a foul on the inside. They're going to call that against Sian Woods, just holding on to the back of Mia Lloyd for the pass.
I think Mia Lloyd got away with one right there. A lot of contact with those elbows, finding the chest region of Woods.
Yeah, just trying to find her space, clearing a little bit of room. As we see Sav going to the jump shot for the 2. She closed the gap back down to 1.
Someone didn't read the scouting report for the Rollers because that's a Savo layup. That elbow jumper is a layup for her.
There's a few players like that nowadays where their layup range is essentially anywhere around the keyway. And yeah, Sav is definitely one of them. See King's three-point shot just a little bit too strong. And Mora with it now for the Rollers. We're just under a minute and a half to go in the second quarter. It's a 1-point ball game. Jackie Luna Castro, nice easy turn, jump shot in the face of Bairstow for 2.
That's the kind of matchup that Bairstow likes too, because Luna Castro plays a similar way. They're gonna face the basket as opposed to back to the basket. So I think you're going to see, as we're speaking about, Steph Bairstow says, "You got one, I'll up you one, and I'll step it outside the 3-point line and get right back at you. Thank you." To level the scores at 42. So Steph wears her heart on the sleeve and puts her pride on the line and knows how to take it at someone and knows how to defend. So as she gets a long rebound and looks for Maddie Willie in transition.
Yeah, Willie doing it hard, trying to shoot over the top of 2 players. Didn't quite manage to get it there. Tolley with it now, coming down with the rebound for Gold Coast. Mora, very ambitious 3-point shot, way over the top of the rim. I think she was looking for a foul, perhaps, by the response. Stop and pop there for Mia Lloyd. Again, asking for the foul. There was quite a fair amount of contact on it, but nothing blown. We do come to a rest now after a foul call there on Gold Coast. So Southwest going to maintain. And Tolley going to come off for Gold Coast Rollers. Coming back on is the captain, Walmsley.
Yeah, good subs from Cassie Dover, getting the captain back in there and being very aware of the fact that Sarah Ambrose has 2. Don't want to pick up a cheap one going into the half. So they go back into this 2-3 zone off the inbounds, forcing Southwest to just get the ball inbounds. 13 on the shot clock. And they'll retain it with 10, so it'll be a corner pass. So this will be interesting from the Pirates to see if they can execute here, because they don't want to go into the half down and they want to get that momentum going and get some made baskets.
Yeah, there is a 14-second differential between game clock and shot clock as well. So King's 3-point shot is no good. It's going to go out of bounds, giving 16 seconds to the Gold Coast Rollers to close out the half in front. Probably not the shot you would have wanted if you were Southwest either. It was quite heavily under pressure, big face in the hand for King to try and shoot that one. So probably not the ideal shot that they would have been happy with.
No, definitely not, as we see Mora work the on ball, and we've got an offensive play foul called off the ball. It'll be on Luna Castro for an illegal screen. That's just lack of awareness. Coach Edwards is going to hopefully punish them now off this, but you can't make silly plays like that, and you've got to recognise that we've just had 2 or 3 possessions down the floor, and you're a professional. You've got to recognise that the fouls haven't been called. There's going to be one coming. This is an adjustment to the league that you need to make, and for us as coaches, I always say that, you know, if it's got physical the last 2 or 3 players down the floor, a referee's going to get whistle happy very quickly and just going to find something illegal somewhere off the ball, and you've got to adjust that. So Luna Castro, you know, is potentially allowing Southwest a last shot, and hopefully Coach Edwards can make the most of it and find either a Maddie Willie who's starting to feel it, or, you know, I'd be going to Lloyd here for me. It'd be probably a Bairstow Lloyd on ball situation. Have Roberts space the floor underneath and get the loose rebound with a tip in. If you've got Maddie Willie and Tyler King on the floor, I'm looking at them in corners and coming off that on ball, as Lloyd's got options, a roller or a popper in Bairstow, a roller in Roberts. So we'll see what happens out of this timeout.
Yeah, and it's very rare that I'm the kind of person to say I think this is an opportunity for Southwest to take a good quality 3-point shot, because we've seen them shoot a lot in the previous couple of weeks, shooting 50-plus 3-point shots a game. But tonight, they're feeling it. They're shooting 6 of 13 from the 3-point line at 46%. So if they're going to shoot a 3-point shot, now's going to be the time to do it. You've got 3 seconds on the clock, and they make a silly error there with a backcourt violation from Willie. That's just, again, as you were saying, lack of concentration. If you're Coach Edwards, you're not happy about that coming out of, you've called a timeout to make a play happen, and that's what happens.
Yeah, poor execution on the Pirates' behalf, but, you know, it's, again, those turnovers you talked about at the start of the game is, you know, it's really going both ways at the moment. So I'll be interested to see what the turnover count is at the half, because at the moment I think it's the ball security and making sure that we're, you know, not turning it over and just giving up cheap ones or free ones is probably paramount. I mean, it's 42 all, you know, going into the half. That's a high-scoring game, you know. So for me, I think ball security's got to be a point of emphasis coming out of the half. But we'll see what with 1.1 Cassie Dover can do.
Well, if you are coached over, who are you giving the ball to for the three-point shot? Because at the end of the day, you've got the pass in from well and truly into the back court. You're going to have to set some screens, get a player open, ideally for a long pass into the front court to set yourself for a three-point shot. But who are you giving it to?
Well, I mean, based on form tonight, you're going to see Woods. But a seasonal shooting percentage is probably one you probably don't write home about. But she's probably saying, Coach, give me the ball.
She's 3 from 5 tonight, so yeah, you're exactly right. She hasn't had great form from three-point land coming into tonight's game, but she's making it work now. So there is 1.1 to go.
This is going to Susie Wormsley coming off a double screen, and they're going to close the gate on her. Willie's aware of it, so we're going to see what's happening now. But they flare Luna Castro, and Carly Patrick's going to have to catch and shoot in the post, and it's no good. That was not the option they were looking for, and the Pirates were very, 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 very clued on to the fact that Susie Wormsley has made a name for herself in the WNBL and knows how to shoot the three pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't the ideal situation the Gold Coast was looking for, but again, good recognition as well to an open Carly Patrick in underneath. Unfortunately, she just rushed that shot a little bit too much. We could see Coach Dover on the side just going catch and shoot. You had the time. You didn't have to rush it. Yep. But it was a great opportunity there. Look, plan A didn't work. Plan B didn't quite get the points on the board, unfortunately, but it was a good opportunity for the Gold Coast and good recognition of where the open player was.
Absolutely.
But that is the halftime break. It is 42 apiece going into the halftime. So we've got about 15 minutes on the halftime break. So we're going to take a quick rest. So don't go anywhere and stick right with us. We will be back with more QBL Round 8 action between the Southwest Metro Pirates and the Gold Coast Rollers shortly. And welcome back to the QBL Game of the Week presented by the Stream Team Australia. It is the Southwest Metro Pirates taking on the Gold Coast Rollers. We're locked at 42 apiece. Jordan, a great first half of basketball so far. Neither team able to drag this one out in their favour. And, you know, realistically, as you said, it's going to come down to who can play the strong defensive game of ball. But at the moment, offensively, both teams are just really taking charge and making stuff work on the offensive end. So having a look at the stats, what's jumping out at you so far?
Well, if I'm coaching offensively, at the moment I'm pretty happy. I mean, 55%, 47% for the Pirates and then Rollers respectively from the field. And I mean, you shoot the ball at 62% from the 2-point line and 52%, and then you go to the 3-point line and shoot it at 46 and 40%. Something's got to crack sometime. So for me, offensively, I think it's a game of, you know, as we spoke about at the start, it's going to be, you know, offensively orientated, but. For me, the defense is really going to be what's going to decide this game. If it's going to be who's going to outscore who, hey, we could be here all night. So, yeah, I think that's one key. I think the other thing is, too, the rebound count's been pretty even, which is, you know, as we spoke about, these are two pretty even matchup teams, and they play similar styles. So it's very much a chess game now, this second half, and they always say third quarter's championship quarter. So I'll be interested to see whether there's another player for each team really step up. I mean, for me, Mia Lloyd stepping up for the Pirates and sort of leading the way both ends of the floor, and I think for the Rollers, I think Mora is the one leading the way as well. So I'll be interested to see who's the second and third option on both teams respectively in the second half. But more importantly, from an overall team perspective, I think coaches have to throw strategies and schemes at each of these different offenses to try and mix things up, build back-to-back scores and back-to-back stops, and see what that momentum does going into timeouts and breaks. Yeah, well, definitely. So looking at the offensive end of things, you know, you've got for Gold Coast Rollers, Sian Woods and Luna Castro sitting on 11 points apiece. So it really is a great effort from those two, and Mora on 9 as well. So not too far behind with Carly Patrick with 6 points off the bench. Southwest ends of thing, Mia Lloyd on 13, closely followed by Roberts on 8, Willie 7 and King 7 as well. So it is a good points spread across both teams on the offensive side of things, but I think you're exactly right. It's going to come down to defense and which team can change things up to really make an impact on the defensive side of things. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as we see Gold Coast coming out with quite a good man-on-man defense so far. Mia Lloyd, nice break down the center to kick out to King, whose three-point shot is just a little bit too strong. Bairstow with a tip, couldn't quite get it there. But that's a much better look offensively from Southwest compared to some of the rush plays we've seen. But Gold Coast defense straight out of the gate looking a little bit higher pressure than what we've seen in the first half. As we see King, I think she's going to get the foul, have drawn the foul on this one. But yeah, I think both teams have focused on this coming out of the half, and we've seen now, you know, a challenge or a contested shot from King down one end, and now a turnover out of the Rollers. So I think both teams have heard the messages from their respective coaches, and now we're going to see some defense, which is going to be exciting to see. And we've obviously seen the offense, but let's put the two together and see what we can get. Yeah, well, absolutely. As you said, we could be here all night if it was just a game of offense, but there are two halves of a basketball game, and for Gold Coast, the defense wasn't quite there on that one. Woods just not able to get up in the face of Mia Lloyd in time as she drains a triple to start the quarter. Yeah, a bit of a blur screen and a dribble and kickback from Maddie Woolley sort of created that space. So good recognition from Lloyd off the back of the dribble drive from Willie, as we see the Pirates now looking to run off the miss from the Rollers. Yeah, tough one there from Woods. Looked like there was a little bit of contact in the back there from, I think it was Mia Lloyd, just putting a little bit of pressure on the back of Woods as she went to take that shot. So tough one there for Woods on the offensive side of things. And coming down the other end, we do have a foul called now against Southwest. So they do get that one. That's going to go against Roberts. Southwest now extending the pressure up the floor to about three-quarter court on the inbound. So trying to force the ball out of Mora's hands, and they do so. And Woods obliges and then finds Luna Castro. He goes all the way in 3-on-2 situation, takes the hit and finishes. And again, though, in that situation, though, the defensive intensity, Southwest has the right idea. They put the pressure up the floor, but the pass ended up coming into the front half. And then Gold Coast had a 3-on-2 advantage because the three girls were playing defense in the back half of the court, just kind of
moseyed on into the front court, and the 3-on-2 play just worked perfectly in Luna Castro's favour. So, I think the intent is there for Southwest, but the execution is just not quite on point at the moment defensively.
100%. You're at the QBL level. This is a semi-professional and somewhat professional league in a lot of regards. So, you can't just think it's going to get done with ball pressure. It's got to be rotations. There's a big block from King. That's one thing that, having coached King at the national level, people underestimate about her, her stature and her length. I mean, we're seeing it with a younger brother, but she is extremely athletic and knows how to read the play extremely well, as we see her take a three that's just off the mark, but Roberts can't get the rebound.
So Gold Coast with it now offensively, moving the ball around quite nicely, getting to a couple of sets ahead. Luna Castro decides to take on Mia Lloyd. She pulls up with a nice, easy jump shot over the top for two.
If I'm Coach Edwards and that's your offense, I'm going to live with that. I think Luna Castro shooting a jumper with a hand in the face, and then being no offensive rebounds for the Rollers, I'm going to live with that, because not one player hit the paint and the ball didn't touch the paint at any time. So you just got to live with that and weather the storm and see what happens.
Great little move there from Woods as well. Kicked the ball out, but the open shot wasn't there. Luna Castro this time going to take a three-point shot and hits again. Luna Castro on fire in the third quarter here for the Rollers.
Yeah, and I think the difference on that one is you get paint penetration, and now all of a sudden there's a breakdown in defensive principles, and now we're in rotations, and that penetrate kick is going to expose those rotations exponentially. So, that's the thing that if I'm coaching, the Pirates, I'm saying, hey, listen, we can live with the ball staying on the perimeter as long as we contest it, like we see there. But Sian Woods has hit a few tonight, and again, we've got to adjust. But if the ball's going around the perimeter and it's just no paint penetration, then contest it and make them play. But again, recognise who your shooters are. And Sian Woods, the scout might not have been on her, but it sure as hell should have been after the half.
Yeah, well, that'll make Sian Woods 4 from 6 from three-point land, so she's definitely on fire, and yeah, not having a hand in the face of her when she's taking a three-point shot. It's exactly the reason why Coach Edwards has gone and taken that time out, because he just needs that defensive intensity to pick up a little bit. Because at the moment, Gold Coast is continuing to play their offense the way they did in the first half. They haven't really changed too much on that end of things, but Southwest defense just hasn't picked up to match the way that they're playing. And, like you said, Jordan, not getting the ball into the keyway and passing around the outside, there shouldn't be an open shot like that from Sian Woods uncontested. The defense was up late, the hand wasn't there fast enough, but the ball never actually got inside, so there was no reason why there shouldn't have been a hand in the face on that occasion as well. So definitely a bit of a breakdown in communication from Southwest defense, and something they're going to need to adjust. They're now 7 points down, and all the momentum in this second half so far is in the favour of the Gold Coast.
Yeah, and I think for the Pirates, the thing is they've gone to that first phase of defense, which has been good, and they've taken more out of the game, which has been exceptional. She's led the way for the Rollers in that first half and really set the tone for their offense. You've gone and taken her out of the game early, which is great to see, but now you've got to evolve and you've got to adjust, and it's that second and third phase of the defensive rotations to say, hey, listen, we've still got to do our job on man-to-man defense principles that says, hey, guard the ball. Like, just straight up guard the ball. As we see a Steph Bairstow three, and she sees one go down. There's going to be 2, 3, and 4 quickly follow. So the Rollers have to be very wary here, because they've just reduced the 7-point lead to 4, and they'll be looking to further reduce it in the second if they can.
Yeah, and Steph Bairstow will definitely have a heat check soon after that as well, because we've seen her shoot 4, 5, 6 3-point shots in a quarter. So definitely need to be aware of that from the Gold Coast. But again, down their end of the floor now, we see that dribble penetration into the keyway and the kick out, and it really is disrupting and confusing the Southwest offense. We saw it again. Ball went inside, kicked out for 3 quick passes around the outside, and Southwest offense just went a little bit wayward as we see a 3-point drop there. Not quite fall, unfortunately, for Mora, but they go inside again, and this time Luna Castro just makes easy work of it underneath.
Yeah, they got caught out. Wormsley got the offensive rebound, and she's played in the WNBL, and she's underrated as an offensive rebounder because she's very smart. And then all of a sudden, breakdown in communication, and there were 6s and 7s trying to chase defensively. So we'll see what happens here now for the Pirates, as they'll retain possession with 7 seconds left on the shot clock. Willie will pass the ball in and get the trips organised.
Lloyd with it now. 3 seconds on the shot clock. She needs to go to work. Kicks off to Steph Bairstow, who can't quite fire. Well, did fire in time, apparently, according to the referees. So play on in that instance, and the shot was missed. Gold Coast now in a fast break opportunity. They get it to Walmsley, and Walmsley makes easy work of it from the three-point line.
I think that's the basketball gods repaying the Gold Coast Rollers on that one, because I think if we went to the review on that one, there was no way in the world, as we see Mia Lloyd splash a 3. There was no way in the world that Steph Bairstow got that shot off before that shot clock violation.
Yeah, I definitely think that's why I said it. I'm just like, it's a violation, but nope, apparently not.
And that's no knock on the referees at all by any means, because they do a fabulous job. Carolyn and Bentini out here doing a fabulous job.
Yeah, and look, and both of us know exactly how hard it can be as well. I think Steph just got away with it. That's all it was. So
yep.
She made quick work of it, fired it right on time, got away with it, but couldn't quite get it back down the defensive end as Walmsley just made easy work of that three-point shot.
Sian Woods with the onside, penetrate, kick. Sarah Ambrose recognises that Luna Castro's got the hot hand. And then move the ball through hands now. 4 or 5 players each touching it in transition is good to see. Ball moving from one side of the floor to the other off penetration. Again, you know, that's patience. That's just good patience and understanding that, listen, if we continue to attack and probe, we're going to find our shot, because we've got good shooters and we've got shooters who are starting to stroke it. So now we've just got to make sure that we stay patient, we find the really good look rather than just trying to force something. As you see Luna Castro, again, she is feeling it. She saw a couple of early ones, easy early ones, and now she's just playing with them. So we'll see if there's a change in the defensive rotations on this one, because they're going to have to lock her down very quickly.
She's gone from 11 points in the first half. She's more than doubled that. She's now on 23. So she's had an absolutely blinding third quarter as well. And Southwest just really hasn't had an answer for that defensively either. And, you know, the Rollers are just playing really smart offense. Every single time down their end of the court, they're doing that inside-outside play. They're getting the ball to touch the paint, making Southwest offense collapse in on them, and then kicking it out. And every single time we've seen it so far, it's pretty much worked. Southwest, on the other hand, just can't quite adapt their offense at the moment as they go to a sort of a rushed Maddie Willie three-point shot that didn't quite fall either. Sian Woods faking out Mia Lloyd and putting it home for 3. The lead now up to double digits for the Rollers. They're up by 12.
Yeah, I think this is where some of the experience for the Pirates needs to come to the forefront and just recognise this is just about tempo. As we see Coach Edwards make a couple of subs, bring some fresh legs in there, which is not a bad move. Gracie Champion and Sydney Wright coming in, so a little bit more guard orientated, and I think, you know, having Sydney in there to help bring the ball up and handle the ball, as well as then Gracie to help rebound, is going to be an asset. As we see Steph Bairstow look at an early 3, can't get it, and Roberts picks up the offensive rebound.
And I think Southwest going with a small team at the moment is probably the right decision as well, because realistically, the Rollers, all of their points are coming from outside. So why have a big team protecting the paint, protecting underneath, when realistically they need that foot speed to get out to the three-point shooters, like in that case there. Sydney Wright just a little bit slow on the feet to get out. But they need a hand in the face of those three-point shooters. They need the foot speed to stop that penetration up the floor and to stop the fast break. So going small, I think, might be the right decision. Grace Champion just not able to keep her handles on that one and losing it. So it'll be an interesting to see whether it pays off. Gold Coast goes inside that time there, but, you know, again, all of their points seem to be coming from the outside. Ambrose not able to finish underneath.
Yeah, she did well to stay in the play though and get her hands on it, and the quick 3-second count led to a jump ball situation. They'll retain possession as we see Carly Patrick check in for Mora. I think for the Pirates right now, you need to be executing, and I think one person that they need to go to that the Rollers weren't able to find a solution for early was Roberts. And if I'm Edwards now, there is no matchup on the floor. Like, all due respect to Sarah Ambrose, and she'll do a hell of a job trying to guard Roberts. But if I'm the Pirates right now, I am letting her bang bodies down inside and just playing off her and see what they do. See if they send a double team at her, because at the moment, playing out of the on ball or playing on the perimeter for the Pirates is really not working, and they're trying to play the same way the Rollers are, which I understand they do similarly. But it's not working, so you may make the adjustment and see what happens. But I think Roberts needs to be calling for the basketball, and we see a seal, and she is demanding it. It's not getting it to her at the moment. We see another turnover from the Pirates. Just lapse of concentration. And that's what happens when, you've got a team that's, slowing you down, as we talked about with the tempo. They're slowing you down, playing a little bit of a zone, matching up defensively, making you work in the half court, and then running off the back of those misses and trying to turn the switch. You have to switch your mindset to, hey, we're locked down, to now I've got to play D-trans. That's a difficult thing to do for any player at any level. And I think now the Pirates have just got to be recognising that, they need to apply the same principles to their defence and their offence.
Yeah, and for Southwest now, it's a mental game more than anything, as we see another rush three-point shot there. Grace Champion not able to find the net on that one, but I think you're right. It comes down to a mental game. Southwest out on the floor, it looks like, they're in panic stations a little bit, and that shows as we see another three-point shot hitting the net for Gold Coast, extending lead out to 15. Southwest are in panic stations, and that is really showing in the way that they're playing at the moment. They're not slowing things down. They're not looking for the open inside passage of play. They're not holding on to the basketball like in that case there, and they've had 2 quick turnovers on 3 offenses. They just need to slow things down. 15 points is not impossible to come back from, but they need to take their time offensively. They need to slow it down. They need to look where their advantage is, which you're exactly right, Jordan. It's inside with Roberts. Roberts really hasn't shone in this game to this point in time. She's only on 8. She's averaging 18 on the season. So we know that she can do work, and most of that work is underneath. And now we see her go to work underneath. Great defense there from Carly Patrick. But we need to see a little bit more of her inside.
Maddie Willie forcing the steal. Does a good job. The Rollers have hit a run, and this is going to be, this isn't definitely, as we see, a 3 in and out like a fast food restaurant for Steph Bairstow. I think a McDonald's fast food restaurant, just by way of dropping a sponsor name on that one too. Steph Bairstow 3 can't go to sort of stem the gap, but just going into the third quarter, I think you're right. Execution is key, and 15 points. The Rollers have put all their eggs in the basket in this third quarter, and Luna Castro has been the linchpin of that, as we see her jumper run off the front of the rim and pop out. 15 points, 66-51. It's been a high-scoring affair for me. Southwest have weathered the storm now. It's about now you throw the kitchen sink at them. Let's see what you can do in that fourth quarter, because to be fair, I'm looking at a Gold Coast Rollers team walk off the floor, and they're tired. They put energy into that, and they had to. They applied a lot of pressure defensively. They ran in transition off the misses. They did a good job of executing in the offensive end, putting the ball through hands and making players work. But that requires energy and effort. So, 15 points down, leading into the fourth quarter, it's definitely by no means done. And as we spoke about in the first half, 1-2 of those players get hot early for Southwest, and it's, it becomes a shootout. So we've seen it from Gold Coast. Let's see what Southwest bring back in the fourth. Yeah, well, it was a 9-24 quarter there in the third in favour of Gold Coast. And as you said, it can be determined as the championship quarter, and that's what we saw. They came out absolutely firing, and they put all of their effort. And realistically, from the Rollers, it wasn't necessarily the way they played offense. It was more so the way that they played their defense and stopped Southwest from shooting. Offensively, they didn't do too much different. They moved the ball around. They got it to touch the paint, kicked it out, had that open shot, moved it around a couple of sets of hands really, really fast. But it was their defensive intensity and the fact that they could read where Southwest was going. And they've gotten to the point now where they know Southwest are going to take those rush three-point shots. And while Southwest was shooting well from three-point land early on in the first half, that's really gone away from them so far in this later stage of the game. They're currently shooting 9 from 23 for 39% from deep. So if I'm Southwest, I'm changing things up. Gold Coast are expecting me to take three-point shots, so I'm going inside, getting the ball into the hands of Roberts or Lloyd or Bairstow underneath and getting the ball in there, because that's not what they're going to expect. So you're exactly right. They exerted a lot of energy in that third quarter. Now it's Southwest's turn to really come out firing, but it's going to come down to that mental game and whether or not they can actually mentally hold up and bring back this 15-point lead. Yeah, and I think the big thing too is, and this is sort of a reflection of how Gold Coast have played. Their leading rebounders are guards. And right now they're leading the rebound count just by 3. But with Pirates on their home floor, my point of emphasis coming out of the third quarter break is really getting on the offensive glass and securing the defensive glass. You don't want to give up possessions. You don't want to have to work for two shot clocks. I think getting on the offensive glass, you've got the athletes and the abilities to do it on the Pirates. it's now about securing that, as we see an Ambrose rebound, and they're out and running, and that's what they want to do. They're pushing the ball in transition and then getting the ball through hands and playing. So let's see what Pirates do as Mora goes back to this horn set for the Rollers. She just probes and just waits for the breakdown of the defense and just walks the ball in for a layup. And that's just, again, a communication breakdown. It's no one's fault. It's just there's no help line. The help line hedges, and then, you know, Wright does the right thing in trying to read the defense, but read the offense. But unfortunately, Mora's a pro, and you know, she's just waiting for someone to turn their head and gone. Yeah,
and what we're not seeing from Southwest as well, that I've just realised as well, is there's no one crashing the boards for the offensive rebounds as well. They're more than happy to take that three-point shot or that very deep two, as we're going to see Willie have to do now, or the 24-second turnaround on that occasion, is no one is crashing the offensive boards. And looking at the stat sheet as well, Southwest has only managed to pull 26 rebounds in the first 3 quarters of the game so far, of which only 5 of those are offensive. So not a great statistic when they're, you know, only shooting from 39% from three-point land or 40% from the field, to not pull more offensive rebounds, not crash the glass, not get in front, not get a body there to box out. They're taking the long shots, hoping that they go in, but not actually backing that up with a body inside. Back over to the GC Rollers now, and they're going to make them pay again as Walmsley settles in nicely to that three-point shot, taking it out to a 20-point lead. So a really great start to the fourth quarter for Gold Coast, and 20 points up. I think it's not looking too good for Southwest. It's going to be hard to come back from this now. Lloyd, however, tries to do it from three-point land, a little bit too strong, as Walmsley pulls down the D-board. Patrick working hard there to get her own rebound. Kicking it back out again, so Gold Coast with it just under 10 seconds on the shot clock again to find some more work on the offensive side. Kicking over to Walmsley, who finds an open Luna Castro on top of the three-point line. She hesitates, kicks to Walmsley, but they're going to get Celeste Williams with the hands foul.
Susie Walmsley's smiling about that one. After her three, she knows full well that was a clean block, but she'll happily walk to the foul line and shoot three.
Yeah, she had a little good shake of the head there, looking at her own teammates after the call, but look, she'll go to the line. She'll take 3 nice, easy free throws, and an absolute veteran of the free throw line as well, so should make easy work of these. Or, you know, just give it the commentator's curse and make her miss the first.
Mate, you jinxed it. I think I'm putting that down to you.
That was definitely all me. She's been shooting well all game, and realistically from the free throw line most of her career.
I've known Susie since under 14s, man, and I haven't seen her miss a free throw until tonight. So, mate, it's all you.
Yeah, I should probably just keep my mouth shut for every free throw from now on, really, shouldn't I? She does go 2 from 3 from the free throw line, taking the lead up to 22 points. We're 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, and Southwest in a bit of a pickle here, aren't they, Jordan?
They are, but I think, you know, there's definitely opportunities there for them, and I think it's not done yet. I think what they need to do is move the ball, continue to move the ball, continue to attack the paint, and have people off the ball. As we see Mia Lloyd try to get a nice little floater from about 4 feet go, but it doesn't. I think the biggest thing is penetration, off the ball movement, and have receivers ready to shoot three. That's something that, you know, Gold Coast haven't really penetrated. They've just more so moved the ball and had people off the ball ready to receive. So Maddie Willie says, I'm not gonna lay down and die, and gets to the rack for the easy 2. But yeah, we're gonna see a 1-2-2 now from Southwest. So off the makes, they're going into that 1-2-2 to try and slow things down, and falling back into that into a man. Oh no, yeah, a little bit of a man, a 1-2-2. So
yeah, a little bit of a loose 1-2-2, I think. Gold Coast manages to break it quite easily, though. They get it into Walmsley inside. She puts it away for 2 and gets another foul against Celeste Williams from the Pirates. So she picks up 2 quick ones. But Southwest will go to the bench. Tyler King checking back in for the Pirates. She's going to sub out. Celeste Williams is going to get the sub on 2 fouls, so she's going to check out again. As Walmsley goes to the line for an extra. So there's going to be a late sub there in as well for the Gold Coast Rollers. Tolly checking back in. Carly Patrick going to take a bit of a break. And Walmsley making a nice, easy work of the free throw, taking that lead up to 25 for the Rollers.
She's got 15 and 8 now, and that's, as I said earlier, people underestimate her smarts as a player. 15 and 8, you know, and when I say 8 rebounds, she knows how to find the ball off the rim. Mia Lloyd kick out to Steph Bairstow, that won't go. Tolly the loose ball rebound, and Mora continues to push. I'll go back to the horn set now, so Mora will work the on-ball, and they've got a few different variations of this. Luna Castro with a pop for the 3, and she's been feeling it tonight. That will take her to 26, I believe. So, you know, that's just simple switch outs, and for me, or hard shows or traps even out of the on-ball. It's just all high pressure. You've got to send us a different look at this point guard, you know, just to slow them down and send different schemes at them, as we see a Bairstow turnaround jumper from about 7 feet.
That's home for Bairstow, though.
Yeah,
just
mate.
on the outskirts of that keyway. Nice little couple back in, turn around, shot and pop.
Yeah, she knows how to shoot the ball.
King with it now on Ambrose. She looks to go inside to Bairstow. Bairstow gets fouled by Walmsley. Just got a little bit of a grab on the arm there, a little bit of a lucky break for Pirates, and they're going to call a timeout for Gold Coast. Coach Dover just having a little bit of a break, so we're going to take a quick rest as well, but stay right with us and we'll bring you the last 5.5 minutes of the Southwest Metro Pirates taking on the Gold Coast Rollers in QBL Round 8 action. And back with you from Hibiscus Sports Complex. It's 5.5 to go as the Southwest Metro Pirates take on the Gold Coast Rollers. And interesting timeout, John. We are just talking about it off air a second ago. Interesting timeout from Coach Dover. Yeah, 26 points up. It's Southwest ball on the baseline or from the sideline. And if you're Coach Dover, what's your reasoning behind calling a timeout at this stage?
Oh, I wouldn't. Time's my friend. I want the clock to run, and I want them to burn them. Play catch up. Well, you know, I've always said, and I've been taught, don't lose a game with timeout. So, you know, but you just gave Steve Edwards one. So, and 5.5. You know, if you can go get a quick basket here or a quick basket there, before you know it, it's, you know, it's a 15-point ball game or a 18-9, as we see Bairstow with a turnaround jumper. She's hit 2 of those now consecutive. So, for me, it's a matter of, hey, you got to be smart. Time's your friend. Let it run. Use the clock, move the ball, get the ball through hands, see what happens. Continue to explore. Don't settle for anything forced. You know, as we see them go inside out, you know, Tolly can't get the roll off the reverse with the English, but you know, Southwest have got to play at speed at the moment. They've got to get quick ones, good ones, but quick ones, and it's got to be off penetration. As we see TY go inside, can't get the roll off the backboard, but there's a foul off the ball.
And they're going to get that one against number 9 from Southwest. It's Chanel Marama. Checking in now, I think, out of that timeout for the first time in the game so far.
Yeah, that's right. Southwest staying this 1-2-2 to sort of slow things down, force the ball to stick a little bit more for the Rollers and not move as freely and flow as freely. And it seemed to be working. They're looking inside, but Mora knows how to find a way into the paint. Ambrose was the beneficiary then of Luna Castro drawing a double team and can't get the jumper to go, but nevertheless, Southwest through Mia Lloyd come down the floor. And I swear there's one end at Southwest which is not too kind to you, and there's one that's really kind to you. I mean, it makes me look like a superstar down one end and make me look as ordinary as I do feel down the other end. But the Rollers are making the most of the fact that they're playing down the superstar end and continue to continue to expand their lead. 81-57.
This 1-2-2 from Southwest, so is starting to look a lot sharper now late in this fourth quarter than what we've seen as well. They've managed to get a couple of stops late here in the fourth quarter on the 1-2-2 press as well. They've made the Rollers take a couple of more difficult shots. They've missed 2 in a row now down that end. So defensively, Southwest starting to look a little bit cleaner, starting to work on that defensive pressure with that 1-2-2 zone. You know, they're obviously a little bit worn out, a little bit tired. They have been running their starting 5 a fair amount in this game. So doing that 1-2-2 gives them a little bit of the rest on the leg so they can get down the offensive end and, you know, use up a lot of their energy to try and rack up some points.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is too, like, you know, Gold Coast saw the ball go in early from not distance but close range. And I think that builds confidence, you know, subconsciously and mentally for a player. That builds a whole lot of confidence. As we see Lloyd push the ball in transition and find TY back to Bairstow. It's just been a matter of, for the Pirates, I think, seeing the ball go through the hole consecutively and also continuously, whereas the Rollers got that momentum early, continued with that momentum, and then the ball starts to move and not stick, and that's sort of been the hardest part for the Pirates tonight, is they've sort of let the ball stick a little bit, and unfortunately, it's meant that, you know, the Rollers have extended their lead out to 24, now 2:58, and there's been no change, unfortunately, as we see Cassie Dover rotate through, giving Luna Castro a breather and Mora having a seat, and I think they'll be done for the night as Ambrose checks back in, and
young Obermeyer checking in as well. Yeah, for the first time in the game, getting a couple of minutes late in this fourth quarter, which is good. So you travel on the floor there as well. Good pick up there from referee Ben Tierney. Lauren Scully just shuffling that pivot foot a little bit on the spin pass.
yeah.
We're now just under 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter as we see another Steph Bairstow fadeaway turnaround jump shot fall. She's had 3 of those so far this quarter, so
That's a trademark move of hers.
yeah.
She made a professional living out of that. Because it's unguardable. She does it very, very similarly. If you watch it in slow-mo, she does it very similarly. Someone, you know, who's played, you know, a good 20 years in the NBA, Dirk Nowitzki, puts the knee up and creates that separation because of her length and athletic ability. You can't defend it. You just can't. Maddie Willie finding a wide open TY, can't get it to go. And that's sort of been the story, like the continuous story of tonight for the Pirates. They've had good looks. They've had really good looks. That first half, they were making those looks. It's just that this half, it just hasn't dropped for them. And that's where I think as a coach and also as playing players at this level, you need to start to then adjust and go, hey, listen, it's not dropping from range. Let's get to the foul line. Let's get in the bonus. Let's push the ball in tempo. But the ball needs to move to do that. And I think the Rollers, contrast to that, have done a good job of releasing the ball up the floor, allowing the ball to move through hands, move freely from one side of the floor to the other, and then allow penetration to happen, which then, again, you know, you got the ball moving and then attacking it and then moving it again. I think it just creates defensive rotations that forces other teams to play catch up with and try and find you.
Ball now in the hands of the young Hayley Booker, checking in for the first time for Gold Coast at only 15 years of age, making, you know, one of her debut season of QBL at such a young age as well. So if she can continue to do great things at this age, she's got a long, long, long career ahead of her.
Well, she's not smiling. She's taking it all in a stride by the looks of things, but she just hit a jumper with, I think, a second or third touch. So her teammates are more excited than she is. And I think we're about to see Casey Walker check in, and by the looks of things, I'm suspecting it's probably her debut QBL season 2.
Yeah, at young age of 16 as well. So, but again, it's good to see the young local juniors joining in on the QBL program as well. And you know, we've seen the same thing for Southwest. We've got a lot of talent from Southwest in terms of the veteran players. Your Steph Bairstows, your Maddie Willies, Celeste Williams, Sav Au. You got a lot of veteran Southwest players, and they've got a lot of youngsters coming through the ranks as well, as of this Gold Coast team. They've now got a 15 and a 16-year-old checking into the game, getting ready to kick off what that would be their debut QBL season.
Yeah, I think people have got to remember too, like, that's a credit to Southwest. You know, they brought back juniors. You know, you got Sav, Maddie, you know, Sid's played some junior basketball here as well, you know. Steph Bairstow played some junior basketball here. I think that's a credit to the Pirates organisation and their ability. Grace Champions played some junior basketball here. Celeste Williams played some junior basketball here. I think that's a credit to the organisation. They have developed. We're seeing that with the Rollers now. They're just starting that journey, and Southwest have been somewhat a production line of good, successful juniors that have gone off and played elsewhere, but they managed to bring them back, which is good.
Yeah, it's been a nice little inside shot from Sid Wright, falling down their end of the court, closing it down to 23. Gold Coast now, young Booker with the ball again. She kicks out to Obermeyer. Obermeyer fade away on the left-hand shot, and that one's no good. As we come down into the final minute of play here in the fourth quarter of the QBL women's game. Sid Wright goes inside, finds wide open underneath, and she goes to the bucket and scores. That's Kula Baudry putting away the 2-point bucket and drawing the foul as well. That is going to get called against Lauren Scully.
Yeah, good vision from Wright there. Obviously, she does know how to play. She's got a teacher or two that sort of know how to coach too. But she's obviously off to college shortly, and I know there's a very proud family behind her. But Sid knows how to read the game, and her development will continue to grow. And I'm sure over the next 4 years we'll see her go on to bigger and better things. And I'm hopeful that one day she comes back here and we can see her back in the Australian ranks. But I'm sure there's bigger things for her in the future. But she knows how to read the game really well, and that's something that she's learned and known for a very long time. Yeah,
she's just another great product of Australian basketball as well, that's getting to go overseas and explore the college system as well. And every single week we talk about it more and more with young Australians going over and playing in the US college system. And we've had in the recent years some amazing players go out of the QBL and explore college. Most notably probably young Mila Goodchild doing great things overseas as well, and her rookie season in the college system has just been absolutely fantastic. So, and Sid Wright is going to be exactly the same. She's going to go over there, she's going to have a stellar season and come back and bring that wealth of knowledge back to the local level over here as well in the professional leagues.
Yeah, I mean, Australian basketball for years now, has been a production line of great talent, globally. Recently Cody Statman from Cairns, was part of the Virginia men's team that won the national championship. That hasn't been done before. And that's his freshman, so he's going back to Tony Bennett, who funnily enough recruited Brock Modem to Washington State before departing. So, as we see the N1 here.
Yeah, Baudry going to work again underneath, making another and one passage of play. This time the foul getting called against Haley Brooker, sorry. I've been saying that wrong all game. My literacy skills clearly not as good as my speaking skills.
Violation called and the shooter was 6.8. 86-68. It was that third quarter that's sort of been the deal breaker, unfortunately, for the Pirates. But there's a lot of good things that come out of this game for the Pirates, even though, I'm sure Coach Edwards would want that third quarter back again, going into the game 42 all, going in the half 42 all, they go down 88-68. But for me, that third quarter was sort of the breaker. I think what you said, 24-9.
24-9, and that quarter there was a 22-15.
Yeah, so that was the camel that broke, the straw that broke the camel's back for me. But the positive out of that for the Pirates is that it's just really little things that built up over one period of time. So it wasn't that they weren't, off the mark. They needed to probably find a couple more early baskets and easier baskets, push the ball in transition and explore. Don't settle for jump shots. Don't settle for three-point shots, as you mentioned a number of times. Don't go 1-2 pass offense. It's got to be multiple passes, multiple probes at the defense with the ball in their hands and see what we get. But I think, we saw a pretty in tune, a very connected and a well-grounded and also well-rounded, Gold Coast team that complement each other all over the floor. And they went 8-9 deep tonight, which is credit to them. Xiao Wood stepped up and hit some big threes and probably went against the scouting report. Susie Wormsley goes out and gets 8-9 rebounds. Mora leads the way off the on-ball, and then, Luna Castro just decides to have a game, and before you know it, it's a 20-point ball game. But positives for Southwest, they can reconvene and regroup now, and and just say, hey, listen, we just got to work on those lapses, those 1 or 2 minute possession lapses, or 1 or 2 possession lapses, I should say. And I think there's good things to come, but they're not far off the mark. And that's a Gold Coast Rollers team that's sort of had some tough games to start the season. So they've had to grind out tough wins and find their their actual image and their profile early in the season. So they'll go on to bigger and better things, but I think the Pirates are still working that out. And as you said earlier, I think once they glue, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And an amazing post-game chat there from Jordan Mullan. Just to quickly run through some final statistics before we start getting set up for the men's game. From the Gold Coast Rollers, an amazing game that from Jackie Luna Castro. She's got 26 points on the board, outscoring everyone on the game tonight. Sian Woods, 20 points from 63% from the field. Mora, 11 points. And Walmsley 16. So realistically, a really great performance from those 4 key players throughout the game. But again, some really great minutes coming through defensively and offensively from their bench. And pulling a lot of boards across the board as well. You got Ambrose on 7, Walmsley on 6. So a really good job to crash down the rebounds, and that really did hurt Southwest throughout the game from multiple fronts. And then looking at Southwest's end, Mia Lloyd on 19 points, outscored for her team. Steph Bairstow on 12, Maddie Willie on 9, Roberts 8, King 7, and Wright 7 off the bench as well, off only 15 minutes. So some really great minutes there from some of the Southwest girls. And as well, coming off the bench, Baudry getting 4 points in 2 minutes is a really great effort for her couple of minutes on the floor as well. But that does just about wrap us up here from the women's QBL game between the Southwest Metro Pirates and the Gold Coast Rollers. We got just over 20 minutes to go before we tip off with the men's game. So don't forget that we do have that men's game coming up for you shortly in around about 20-25. So grab yourself a drink and some food, come back, we'll bring the men's game for you shortly. Once again, I'd just like to thank Jordan Mullan, my co-commentator. Thank you very, very much. Gemma Kelleher up on the camera, somewhere up behind us. My name has been Regan Baker from the Stream Team Australia. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you for the men's game shortly.